Have you ever wondered who is behind the curtains, pulling the strings of the global economy? The answer may surprise you. It's the largest investment management firm in the world. With over $9 trillion in assets under management, they hold significant power over the financial markets and have been accused of influencing government policies and dictating market trends. But their influence extends far beyond just finance. From real estate to technology, their reach is vast and their decisions can have a profound impact on our daily lives. Dubbed as the Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer by some, this company operates in secrecy, leaving many to question the true extent of its control. So are they truly ruling the world, or is it just a perception? The truth may be more complicated than we think. If you're new here, click the subscribe button and the bell icon to get instant notification of new videos. Let's get started with the video. How many trillions do you believe Blackrock owns? $1 trillion? Why not make it 2? Do you want to go for 3 or 4? What about 10 trillion? Blackrock holds $10 trillion in assets as of January 2022, which is growing. To put things into perspective, BlackRock controls more money than the GDP of every country on the planet, saving the United States and China. If it were a country, it would be the third richest on the planet. Vanguard follows closely behind BlackRock with $8 trillion in assets. And speaking of Vanguard, its name will appear several times on this list. It's as enigmatic and mysterious as BlackRock, and it seems to have even more to hide. You may have never heard of BlackRock, despite its enormous power and influence over the global economy. The corporation operates mostly behind closed doors, avoiding public scrutiny and examination. Compared to many other firms, BlackRock maintains a low profile and avoids media attention, making it difficult for the general public to comprehend its scope and influence completely. The truth is that you only hear a little about BlackRock. Because of BlackRock's secrecy, determining the degree of its influence over the world's financial systems is challenging. BlackRock and Vanguard own a large portion of Graham Media Group, which owns state and foreign policy. They also have a 10% to 18% stake in CNN, CBS, Fox, Disney, Comcast, Gannett, and Sinclair Broadcast Group. These media conglomerates are global businesses that own multiple major media outlets. The development of COVID-19 in 2020 sent the US and worldwide economies into a minor recession. As usual, the US government and Federal Reserve stepped in to implement monetary policies to restore normalcy in the US. They brought a friend this time, BlackRock. The US government and Federal Reserve urged BlackRock to assist in stabilizing the US financial market. Simultaneously, the government used BlackRock's software to gain access to the financial data required. Surprisingly, BlackRock was also employed by the Bank of Canada and the European Union for similar purposes. The arrangement technically made BlackRock clients of the Bank of Canada, the European Union, and the United States government. It also granted BlackRock access to top-secret financial data that it could utilize for its gain, prompting detractors to label it the fourth arm of the United States government. In response, BlackRock stated that it would not share the information with itself. This lack of openness raises concerns about potential conflicts of interest and BlackRock's influence over government policy and the global economy. The fact that a firm of such magnitude operates in the shadows is cause for alarm, emphasizing the significance of greater public understanding and accountability in the financial sector. One of the defining characteristics of the United States in capitalism is competition. Alternatives keep firms on their toes and force them to create better goods and services. But is it competition when the same people own the so-called competitors? We're discussing BlackRock here. We're dragging Vanguard and State Street because BlackRock rarely does things alone. State Street Global Advisors, aka SSGA, is another asset manager worth mentioning because of its suspiciously tight ties to BlackRock and Vanguard. We'll get there eventually. BlackRock and Vanguard control about 1/3 of Coca-Cola and its main rival, PepsiCo. They're also major shareholders in Boeing and Airbus, Expedia and Skyscanner, Booking.com and Airbnb, as well as Facebook, Apple and Microsoft. But it doesn't stop there. Shares of competing airlines, oil firms, refineries, steel plants, mining companies, e-commerce sites, credit card companies, insurance companies, tobacco companies, automobile giants, weapon manufacturers, renewable energy companies, and so on are held by Blackrock, Vanguard, and State Street. Investors such as Blackrock have purchased a majority stake in nearly every pharmaceutical company. Indeed, the major three, Blackrock, Vanguard, and State Street, own stock in the top 3 pharmaceutical corporations in the United States: Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and Merck. Every year, Blackrock, Vanguard, and State Street profit handsomely from their pharmaceutical investments. Take a look at this. Pharmaceutical businesses paid out $30 billion to stockholders in 2000. They paid out $146 billion in 2018. Where did all that money come from? Us. And we're all curious about why drug prices are rising. While we will soon reveal some sneaky secrets about Blackrock, Vanguard, and State Street, for the time being, we'll say they can get away with these controversial investment strategies because they are completely legal, as long as each investor keeps their ownership in each competing business below 10%. We previously stated that Blackrock controls $10 trillion in assets. Thanks to Aladdin, it may have control over twice that much. No, not the one from Arabian Nights, but Blackrock's financial analysis program. In 1993, Blackrock released the first version of Aladdin to help it compare changes in the stock it was managing. Aladdin has grown over time and is now the financial management software of choice for various significant firms, asset managers, and multinationals, with $20 trillion in assets under administration. That is 10% of all global financial assets, or 4 times the amount of money in the world. $20 trillion is greater than China's GDP and equal to the United States GDP. Surprisingly, Vanguard and State Street are significant users of Blackrock's Aladdin. The Treasury is required by law in the United States to pay particular attention to banks with more than $50 billion in assets. Blackrock holds assets worth 200 times that amount, but the government pays little attention to it. Why? Because it is an asset management rather than a bank. Blackrock needs more monitoring. That, however, does not explain why the government has not broadened the statute to cover asset managers or even developed a separate law for them entirely. Indeed, during a Senate hearing, Senator Elizabeth Warren asked Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen if the failure of Blackrock would represent a risk to the US economy. Yellen deftly avoided the topic, claiming that Financial Stability Oversight Council, or FSOC, which monitors banks with more than $50 billion in assets, had investigated and would continue to probe Blackrock. Blackrock is a multinational investment management corporation with operations in numerous countries other than the United States. The company operates in North America, Europe, Asia, Australia, and the Middle East, and services customers in over 100 countries. Because of its global reach, Blackrock may invest in a diverse range of firms, industries, and markets, giving it tremendous influence over the global economy. The company has formed alliances with financial institutions and governments worldwide, establishing it as a trusted advisor and investment manager on a global scale. Despite its global reach, Blackrock is still based in the United States and is subject to United States regulations and monitoring. Nonetheless, its worldwide operations and relationships make it a significant actor in the global economy, deserving of a rigorous inspection. Blackrock is a publicly traded corporation, although its founders, Lawrence D. Fink, and a group of senior executives own most of the company. The firm went public in 1999 and has since evolved to become one of the world's largest investment management organizations. While it's publicly listed and has a diversified shareholder base, most of its ownership remains concentrated among its founders and top executives. This concentration of ownership provides Blackrock with independence and stability, allowing it to make long-term investment decisions without feeling obligated to produce short-term outcomes for a wide and scattered group of shareholders. Despite its public ownership structure, Blackrock's concentration of ownership among its founders and senior employees has raised concerns about the possibility of conflicts of interest and the company's impact on the global economy. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Do subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your thoughts and questions in the comment section. And as always, I will see you again very soon.